So the order of the day is how to perform spiral wraps inside either a Meteor or a single-handed kind of arrangement with your poi. Which, as you can see, it can be a little bit challenging to have the single point of control, but to have two poi coming out of it, or rather two ends of a Meteor, if that happens to be your particular arrangement. But this is one of those things that I've had on the back burner really for, I swear, years, and that I've just never gotten to the point where I felt like I'd mastered it, but I feel like I know enough now that I can at least do a decent tutorial on how to put it together. So, here goes. So clearly, what we're trying to achieve here is to do the same kind of thing that we do as we're playing around with waist wraps or 3-beats when we do a spiral wrap and then get out of it, right? Which, of course, involves wrapping the poi around our hands and then giving them a really quick flick back out, which gradually gains more speed as it comes out. And, of course, we can pull our hands out to help with that motion. When it's a single point of control, however, that is when both of the poi are in one hand, it gets to be quite a bit more difficult how you do that kind of pulling out motion. I have a much easier time going from one of these orientations, that is the pinky-led orientation, to the thumb-led orientation, rather than the other way around. And I'm not entirely sure of why that is, aside from the fact that invariably one side is always easier than the other, right? So, where to start? Well, first and foremost, probably, I get a lot of people, especially beginners, asking me about the grip of their poi. When it comes to doing this inside of kind of a Meteor-style arrangement, I know of 3 different grips, and I know which one I prefer, but I've seen a lot of different approaches out there for how to do this. On my thumb end, of course, I'm holding a poi between my thumb and index finger. As for my other poi, I usually prefer to have it go between my ring finger and my pinky finger, although I've also seen people do between the pinky and the butt of the hand, or between the index finger and the ring finger, right? Any one of these works. Basically, it's whatever feels most comfortable to you, right? Once you got that down, it's time to start playing around with your Meteor 2-beats. That is, this is really exactly the same thing as a 2-beat where, say, your right hand would be on top. The main difference being, of course, that it's your thumb rather than your right hand that is leading the poi through, right? So where I would begin with this is draping the poi down in front of me so that I've got my blue poi, that is my pinky end poi, drop down on my right side, and my orange poi, that is my thumb end poi, drop down on my left side. And I'm going to swing my hands around and over to the right and get a nice little 2-beat working there, right? Now, part of the challenge you're going to find here is that this is going to feel more normal than this. The reason being that you really have to make sure that your pinky end is always driving the pinky end poi to the opposite end of the circle that the thumb end poi is. By the same token, there's also a pinky-led version of this. And for me, that usually winds up being in kind of a reverse 2-beat arrangement. Now, I know there's ways that you can do pinky-led forwards and thumb-led reverse, but I just normally find that these are the orientations that I wind up in for those 2 particular directions. So for me, it's easiest to think about spiral wraps as being a switch between pinky-led and thumb-led, if that makes any kind of sense. Which also means that as you unwrap from it, you have to be thinking about, okay, is it my pinky or my thumb that's about to lead me into this pattern, right? But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves here. Now, once you've got these 2-beats feeling relatively good, it's time to start actually working on the wrapping, which can be a little bit of a challenge. And the way I actually recommend doing that is try and keep the planes as close to your body as possible. And then when you stop, you're going to advance your hand just a little bit forward to make sure that the poi cannot slip off of it as you go into the spiral wrap, like such, right? And then, of course, you gradually pull your hand back when you give that nice little flick to unwrap out of the spiral wrap. Like so. That was the best one I've done yet. And when it comes to coming out of it, again, remember, and this is part of the reason why I like using two different colors for my different poi. Remember which one is going to be leading the way out. And the moment you see that particular poi go to full extension, it's time to start initiating the movement. And hopefully the other poi will follow it through, right? Now, one issue you're going to encounter almost definitely is that you're going to get the poi in various types of tangling as you're going around. The best way, honestly, that I've found to deal with this is to go back to this little 2-beat place and to deliberately tangle yourself up and work on getting yourself untangled by switching the poi to the other side of your body. In addition to showing you how to untangle yourself coming out of the spiral wraps, it'll also set you up for doing things like, say, multiple beat weaves with the single hand. So I can do a 3-beat weave, or I guess that's a 4-beat, like such, which, of course, is also fun to know, right? And, of course, this also ties into things that you can do with 3-poi. So, I will be back with a video on how to translate this into 3-poi later, but hopefully in the meantime that was helpful for those of you all that are working on this one. So, thank you for watching, and have yourselves a great week. Peace.